are you? It seems like the mood is pretty upbeat from what we've seen from most of the players.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. It always stinks to lose, but did whatever I could to help the team. And as far as I'm concerned, I think we can move past it and come out this next week and try and do something special.
So much was invested in that game, though, and Stanford beat you last year. How long will that sting, or does it take a long time to get past it?
It does hurt, especially losing twice in a row. I mean, I know it'll stick with me for a little bit, but I'm going to try not to think about it too much. There's been lots of losses in not only just my life, but lots of other people's lives, not only including football, So, for the most part, you got to try and find a way to get around it. I mean, of course, there was a lot riding on it, but, you can't really do much about it. It's over with. And I feel like we did whatever we could, especially on the defensive side of the ball. We were on the field for quite a long time. Didn't really give our offense much of a chance to make something happen. When they were on the field, they weren't there for very long. I feel like, just the way that the game progressed, we just couldn't keep our offense on the field long enough. And, it turned into not as many points. We ended up just running out of time. We had 2 more minutes left. I feel like it could have been a different story.
You're a senior. You came up a field goal short of winning the national title your freshman year, then 1 game away each of the past 2 years. Is it harder to go on because of that, because of how close you've been, and now it looks like it, unless some crazy stuff happens, that it's happened again?
Well, it's a little upsetting, of course, especially from that first year. And we've been close several times, but, everything happens for a reason. If we weren't meant to be there, then we weren't meant to be. We'll prepare every day like we're going, but if it's not meant to be, then that's what happens.
Do you feel like there's still just as much to play for, I guess? Is the motivation still there this morning as it was a week ago on Monday?
Yeah, definitely. You want to go ahead and finish out this season. It's not like our entire season's over with. We still have the rest of this season, and we'll probably have a bowl game to play for, We just got to go ahead and try and win out. For all we know, things might turn up, something crazy might happen, and we'll be back into something.
How long do you think it took for the team to get over that loss Saturday?
I'm not very sure, but we did have a long weekend, so maybe that was enough time for some people.
Does that help or does it hurt having to sit and stew, essentially? Not being able to go right back to practice like you normally would?
I mean, it didn't bother me too much, It was nice to have a weekend to myself. It stinks that we lost, but having some time off really just helped me just go ahead and focus on school, get myself together, be able to just take care of myself, clean my house, just things that I didn't really have time to do. And, making use of your time, it kind of helps you just get your mind off of other things.
You made a ton of tackles in that game. How are you physically doing all right? Because I know it was a rough game.
Yeah, it was a little brutal, but the most part was just taking on the blocks. I feel like that would have hurt more than just making tackles, but, I'm doing all right.
Were you surprised that on both sides that they controlled the trenches?
I was a little bit. It was more or less just upsetting for the fact that, I felt like we couldn't get as much push, but, when we're on defensive line, they're outnumbered. They would bring in an extra lineman for the most part, and that was one of the people that I was ended up taking on. We have extra lineman and fullback on there. So, I don't think it was necessarily like they were just being pushed around, but they were outnumbered most of the time. And then, we have to go ahead and just back them up whenever the gaps show. So I think we did a good job of controlling, gap control, making sure that they don't really get as many yards. We held him to a pretty low average, especially for the fact that he got the ball so many times, the running backs. And the quarterback also added to that rush average. He didn't throw the ball very much. I think we played a pretty good game on defense. We were just on the field for a majority of the game, so that just doesn't really help put points on the board.
Right,
but
26 points would not typically beat Oregon or even be close.
Yeah, I just feel like we needed to make a play to help spur the spirit and then the excitement and then to bring the offense along. I feel like that interception that happened, I don't really know how I feel about that, I think it could have went the other way, but I think that was a turning point that we really needed that didn't really go our way, and it resulted into some points. And I think after the blocked field goal, when that turned into a touchdown, that was some momentum that we needed, and it helped swing, but it was just too late.
Brian,
Seemed
what
like
do you,
they were
what do you make
sending
of this national perception that Oregon just can't play with bigger, more physical teams?
I don't think that that's really the case. I feel like the way that things went is we made a couple mistakes, and then we just kind of just went the other way. You know, you turn the ball over, you give up some big plays, it's going to result into something. But it's not that they were just bigger than us and bullied us or anything. I don't agree with that at all. It's just whatever people say, you know, it's just what they see on the outside. It's like, oh, they're a bigger team, they beat them. Okay, well, they don't know how to play football against bigger teams. If anybody that watched the game, you could tell that was a real fight between both teams. Even if somebody would say like they're bored or something because they just run the ball and only get 3 yards every play, like that was an intense game and we were in it the whole time.
Seemed like they were sending big linemen after you a lot of the times. How do you like taking on those big guys when they're twice as big as you?
Nah, it doesn't bother me. If that's what I'm supposed to do, then I'll do it. You know, I felt like it was a lot of fun actually. You know, getting to go up against them. You know, they're just so much bigger than me. Most that I can do is just run into them as fast as I can. And at times that makes it kind of fun. You don't get to really do that very often, especially playing safety. Most of the time you're just backpedaling and watching other people. It's cool to just get in there and put your nose in there and try and make something happen.
Put it behind you, though. Get ready for Utah. You had a chance to look at them very much.
A little bit. I see that they're a pretty physical team themselves. They know how to move the ball pretty well. They can spread it out. They like to use the perimeter quite a bit, so they look like they're going to be a really good team. They're good on defense as well, so we're going to see what they're made of coming this weekend.
Seem to want to throw the ball quite a bit, too.
Mm-hmm. They got a lot of spread, and they'll definitely go vertical on you. You know, you see a lot of four wides, a lot of four verts from that. They got some screen passes and things like that. So they're pretty versatile offense. I think they're going to try and find what they think works and try and stick with it. But, you know, it's our job to make sure that nothing works.